Hey guys, today I'm doing a video request on the differences between ISTJ and ISTP. And gosh, I got this request and I was like, okay, I need to do some research online first just to like fill my head with a little bit more facts, research is always good. And then I was like, I thought about it a little more and I'm like, the difference is like huge. I can totally do this. And then also I'll go into a little bit of, assuming I remember, TJ and TP differences, which is also pretty big. Although I've found with some types, like I'll be like, wow, those types are totally different, and then I'll meet someone and I'll be like, somehow they managed to get between those two types, which are very different, and I don't know how they did it, but people are weird, in a good way. And so I think one of the biggest things, so I've got an ISTJ sister, and one of my really good friends is an ISTP, so this is a very convenient topic for me. And one of the biggest things, the difference between the two that I personally notice, and everyone's going to notice something different, like DJ R&D, you can look him up, he's an ESTP, he did a video on perception, and how everyone will notice something differently. So you'll have two people arguing about, no, he's an N, no, he's an S, and it's because they're noticing different things, they're perceiving different things. Everyone, you take the same situation, everyone will perceive it like in a totally different way, which I'm sure many of you know. And so one of the biggest things that I've noticed between various ISTJs and ISTPs is the need for stability in the ISTJ and the need for anti-stability, instability, in ISTPs. And so with ISTJs, they'll have, they like their life being stable. I mean, everyone likes this to a certain extent, but ISTJs really, like, for example, my sister. So she and I, because I live in Japan, so we were at this like Japanese like old throne kind of, not throne, like a, gosh, I can't think of the word. It's a castle essentially. And so we were out here and we were looking over all the stuff, and my sister was like to me, she was like, I wish that I was a Japanese woman in this time. Of course, I look at her and I'm like, what is wrong with you? Like, to me, I love the independence of now as an ENTP. I couldn't stand having, being dependent on people and dependent on them for my future and having all my future just planned out ahead of time for me. I couldn't make my future. But she loves that. She loves the idea of her purpose in life being set out for her, and she knows what it is, and she doesn't. And she's got these rules to follow, which, so, like, that, it's just how things are supposed to be for her. She told me she likes the idea, and this isn't going to be true for all ISTJ women, but she said that she likes the idea of getting married and having her marriage, like, stable, as in an arranged marriage. She doesn't necessarily like the idea of, like, not being able to choose her husband, but she likes having it stable and knowing that this is who I'm going to be with, this is what it's set out for me. And so, lost my train of thought for a second. So she's like, I like the idea of just my life being serving my husband and providing for him and such, and making my husband happy is what she said. She likes the idea of that being her life, and for me, I'm just like, no, no. But that's how she is. She likes stability to that point. And she's also in Enneagram 9. I'm pretty sure that is. They like stability a lot. So she's got like stability for ISTJ and an Enneagram 9. So she's like super loves stability. But yeah, so ISTJs they're more of subordinates. If you look at ESTJs, they're going to be the people leading the companies. ISTJs are going to be their henchmen, in a way. Now, ISTJs, of course, don't like being condescended upon, like, you are my servants, I am looking down on you, and to a certain extent they do like serving someone, but at the same time, I mean, of course, they're people, they're not going to be like, oh, I want to serve you, oh, humble master, I am such a stupid person. I mean, ISTJs are smart people, I mean, it depends on the ISTJ, but your MBTI doesn't exactly make up how smart you are. But yeah, anyhow, so yeah, they like having things set in stone. And they don't necessarily like having things planned out for them. So like I was saying, they're more subordinate people. They enjoy, like, okay, if you've ever seen Seeking a Friend for the End of the World, which is, I just thought of this, the guy in there, now, I might be wrong, everyone's, like, types people differently, and, don't, like, freak out on me, like, no, he's a different type. I mean, totally, you can say, he's a different type, and I'll be curious to hear your insight on that. But my sister and I typed him as ISTJ. My sister would be the main character, the guy, what's his name? Totally forget his name. I love that movie, but I totally forgot it. So if you guys have seen it, my sister was watching it, and she was like, he's so much like me. Like, I was thinking in this part of the movie that if I were in his position, I would lay down, and then he laid down. And so, he had a job, and if you look at his life, and if you look at just kind of the way he was living, it's obviously just a very, I mean, aside from the girl's part, it was a very stable life. He had this job he went to, and he worked, and then he went home, and that's what ISTJs would kind of like more. Now, ISTPs, that I don't think they necessarily dislike this so much. I'm not sure, but they aren't so much focused on the stability aspect. They don't need that. They thrive on adventure. When my sister, if she watched my ISTP friend and the things he did, I think she would like be so stressed out because he would be doing these dangerous things, and she would be like, oh my gosh, he's gonna like kill himself or whatever. And I mean, she does that with me, and I'm not as daring as my ISTP friend. Yeah, so ISTPs, they're definitely more of they're a thrill person. I'm not sure if every single ISTP in the entire world is like this, but they like daring things, cliff diving, anything. My ISTP friend really wants to go paragliding, I believe it was that he wanted to do. Really anything thrilling. They see an opportunity to do something risky, and they take it. Well, in the physical aspect, because their top function, well, their second to top function is SE. Their top function is TI. TI is your logical, inner working logic, and SE, which I explained in my previous video about ESTPs and ENTPs and their recklessness. SE is your surroundings, your understanding of your surroundings, and it's more impulsive. And so their TI is run by their SE, basically, in a way. That's what was explained to me. They use their TI in an SE way. So they are very reckless, and they'll do things like that off of impulse. ISTPs are very impulsive. There's an example of how they're different. ISTJs have SI, not SE. ISTJs can be impulsive. Everyone can be impulsive. But ISTPs, I know my ISTP friend, he says that he has to do something wrong 3 times, generally, before he realizes, oh, I need to stop doing this. This is a mistake. He acts impulsively. My ESTP friend is the same way. She says she has problems with sometimes she'll act too impulsively. And it's not like impulsive buying or something like... I could imagine an SF would have more problem like this with like, oh, I have to buy these shoes. That's not what I mean by impulsive. I mean, they see a cliff, or not a cliff, but like a dangerous area of rocks, and they, without even thinking, they go and jump around on them. And I talked about that in my video on ESTP versus ENTP recklessness. And so you can see kind of the ISTP recklessness in that. Sorry, my music came on randomly on Spotify. It does that because it freezes up. Anyhow, so yeah, you can, if you want to really know more about ISTPs, I did talk about them a little bit in my video on ESTPs and ENTPs. So yeah, that's really like the biggest difference I personally see between ISTJs and ISTPs. ISTJs are going to be more stable, less impulsive. They're going, And it's not like ISTJs like plan out every single bit of their future. My sister, I know she doesn't really like planning, but she wants her future to be put upon her. She doesn't want to have to plan out because that's a little stressful. So like, she doesn't want to plan out like I do this and this and this in the distant future. She wants to just kind of live. ISTPs are more into the thrills. Watching an ISTP could potentially be stressful for an ISTJ. So yeah, and TJ and TP versus those differences. Okay. I just went and did a little bit of research on TJ and TP because you know how I said like I didn't need to do any research. I know all about this. I was wrong. So that was the second thing that was like requested. Was first it was ISTJ and ISTP, and then sticking out. Sorry, this thread. Distractedness, ENTP. Yeah. That's going to be my excuse in every video. I feel like I always do something like that, and then I'm going to just be like, oh, I'm an ENTP. Anyhow, so yeah, so I did a little bit of research, and one thing I'd like to read from, it's just, if you search TJ versus TP, it's like the first link that shows up. And at the bottom, this one person says, there is no strong functional similarities among MBTI, TJ, and TP types. They merely either have a J/PI function or a P/JI function. Don't ask me about what JI and PI and stuff is. I have never heard of them using J and P in cognitive functions. I'll have to research that more. Or, if someone was really lovely, they could answer that question for me on what on earth that is. Anyhow, continuing on, you could find contextual significance within these groups, but any conclusion you make about them will not be equally valid for each type. Anyhow, so yeah, I think that's true to a certain extent. There are some similarities I've found between TJ and TP types. As for the versus the differences, I can just tell you like what they're each like. I know for certain like TP types, gosh, you gotta love TP. For another TP, I feel like we all love each other. Because the reason why I love TPs is because they're so harsh. They can handle things. Now, of course, everyone has feelings, and something's going to hurt your feelings eventually, but ESTPs especially, I found, like, I think they're the least insecure type of all the types ever, in my opinion, from what I've seen. And TPs are just, they're harsh, they can handle things well. TJ types are going to have FI, from what I understand. I'm pretty sure most of them do, if not all of them. And, like, and INTJ versus INTP, INTJ is actually going to be more likely to be, like, get insulted, like, as much as they probably would deny that. Yeah, it's the FI versus FE difference. So FI, it's more internal emotions from what I understand. And so INTJs, I've found, this, like, ENTJs, all of them, they'll be super, like, T-like and super kind of, like, insensitive and blunt and honest, and then suddenly you'll, like, hit somewhere where it's, like, a soft spot, almost like a more sensitive spot that they have, and they'll get offended. And, so, TJs tend to be a little more insensitive. I know my sister is, as an ISTJ, she's essentially like that. Like, she's kind of funny. She makes me laugh because she'll say, I never notice these things when it's just me and her, but when she's conversing with other people, especially people that we, like, who don't know very well, she'll, like, sometimes say things, and I'll think, oh, Sophie, that was kind of harsh. She's just a little oblivious as an ITJ, to like what she says, like what that could be interpreted as, and ISTPs do this to a certain extent, I think as well. Just the introverted thinkers tend to do this more. But yeah, she can be a little sensitive, but a lot of times I'll hurt her feelings because I'll do something or say something just like an idiot like I am, and she'll get her feelings hurt. And so But yeah, so it's like the FI versus FE, and FE is pretty good at like FI is, I feel like a good way to put FI and FE is FE is good at like understanding when people are upset. Like I can feel it in the air. I really suck at dealing with people when they're upset, most of them, but what I can tell really, really well. My sister, she can't always tell when people are upset. When they are upset, she's still one of the most nurturing people. Even though she's a T, she's pretty like, unless she doesn't know them very well. Otherwise, she's like, I don't know what to do. But like, if there's someone she knows well, like my mom, for example, when she gets upset, she's an ISFJ. My sister's always like really fast to like comfort her, and meanwhile, I'm sitting here thinking my mother is upset and it's illogical. Like I do have those thoughts of like why is my sister comforting her? Like she shouldn't be upset in the first place. Which is kind of bad. So yeah, my sister, she's very nurturing as a FI user, even though she can't always tell. So yeah, TPs just tend to be a little more harsh, but not obliviously so all the time. I think they're better at understanding, like empathizing. Like FE is empathy, SI is sympathy. But TPs have harsh humor. They don't take things very seriously. That's another reason why I love TPs. Like I can have the most morbid, offensive humor with them, and they don't get their feelings hurt. They don't get like offended by it. Whereas other types, you have to be more careful. We're a little less. It's the PJ difference. We're a little. TPs are a little less structured, I guess. We're a little less touch and go and more touch and dig in. So like that's another thing I was reading online, is that TPs, we tend to take information and dig into it, whereas a TJ will be like, okay, I got this information, let's go. And I'm going on to the next thing, and then I'll like jump onto the next thing. So a TP's like stuck digging his hole, like, oh look, I found something. TJ's like, come on, I already jumped to the next rock. That was a weird random analogy. Looks kind of funny in my head though. And so yeah, so that's what I would say is like the main difference between TJ and TP, is that TPs are, I guess it's really a lot of it is a P and J difference. Ps are more explorers, Js are more conquerors. When I see something, I explore it. I don't seek to conquer it. Ps are more journey of the road. Js are more end of the accomplishment of finishing the road. And that's not true for all Ps, because my dad is an INTP, but he's more of an end of the road person. So yeah, that's the difference of ISTJs, ISTPs, TJs, TPs. I hope this was helpful. If you have any more questions to anyone, just any more questions about this topic or anything else, if you have any video requests, I'd love to take video requests, truthfully and honestly. The moment I saw that comment, I made this video. So yeah, I'm going to try to be very proactive about making the videos. It was convenient that I was not doing anything when I saw the comment. Just shoot me a question, shoot me up an argument. If you disagree with something I said, I'd love to learn more. If you have insights, please comment. Bye.